Dictionaries. Dictionaries is a brand new data structure. So think about lists for a second. Information in a list is organized in what way? What are some of the characteristics about lists? One of them is everything's organized by order. You keep it in order, that you entered it or appended it. However, information in a dictionary is organized by association. So Python dictionaries is a data structure that associates a set of keys, which you create, with a corresponding set of data values, which you create also. So a dictionary is a set of keys, which we can think of as terms or dictionary entries, each pointing to their own values, which we can think of as means, and hence the metaphor of dictionary. And here's what a dictionary looks like. So we have the dictionary name, the variable name that it's assigned to. Notice that we have curly brackets here instead of square brackets. Here we have key, which in this case is a string, followed by a colon, and after that is that key's value. So keys are separated from their values with a colon, and the key value pair is separated from each other with a comma, just like values in a list are separated by commas. So here we have another key, which in this case is a string, separated from its value with a colon, which in this case the value is an integer. So why use dictionaries instead of a list? What's the advantages of dictionaries? Because dictionary is association-based, it's very easy and actually very quick to find something if you know the key. And that doesn't matter how big the dictionary is. It can find any entry, no matter how big it is, almost instantaneously. Unlike list, which would require you to iterate over each item until you find the item that you're looking for. And that can get very long if you have a very long list. So let's talk about dictionary keys. So two elements of a dictionary, keys and values. So think of a dictionary as an unordered list or set of key value pairs. Here's the thing about keys, they have to be unique. And you can think of this as a parallel of a key in a dictionary is like an index in a list. Starting from 0 up to however many items you have in a list, each index is unique. And that's how you find an item. So Python must know exactly which value you want, and since it's associated to a key, it needs to have unique keys so it can find that value. Keys can be of any data type. We saw it could be a string, it can also be an integer. It can be any data type as long as it is immutable. So what does that mean? Well, let's think about what we know. Immutable data types are strings, integers, floats, and tuples, which we learned about last week. It can't be a list because lists are mutable. So keys can't be lists. Dictionary values have not so many rules. So keys are pretty restricted, but values do not have as many restrictions. There are a few. But basically, they don't have to be unique. Why? Well, just like you can have duplicate items in a list, so you could have a list of, I don't know, 5 5s. That's fine because the indexes that locate those items are unique. So we can find them with the index. The values themselves can be non-unique. And the values can be either mutable or immutable. So just like keys, you can use any data type as a value, and plus you can use mutable keys such as lists. So a value can be a list. And why is that? Well, again, since they don't need to be unique, we can change the value without restrictions. It's not going to make it difficult to find that value because the key is unique and the key is immutable. All right, let's think of an example when we might want to use a dictionary and what the advantages of using a dictionary is over a list. So imagine we have a list of every student at CU, which is like 30,000 people, and all the information about them is represented as a list. And let's say the first element of the information list is a student ID number, so that's how we're going to find them. How long, and if you had all of that in a list itself, how long would it take to find a specific student? Well, in a list, if it's not sorted, you have no way of saying, you know, if it's not, it starts with a 9, it's toward the end of the list. You don't know that. You have no sorted list. It's going to take a very long time because you're going to have to go over all 30,000 or so items in the list until you find the one that you want. Well, all 30,000 if it happens to be at the end, right? So it could potentially take a very long time or a relatively long time to find the student ID, that number that you want. Now, if you sort it, it can be faster because you can, you know, start looking at the end of the list if you know that it's going to start with a 9. But every time you add a new student ID, you have to resort the whole list. So either of those operations take time and extra work. However, finding a student ID in a dictionary is very, very quick. And the reason why it is so much quicker is due to a thing called hashing, which we'll talk about in another video.